Ronjini, how are you doing? And welcome to Video Games Real Talk.
I am doing really good. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to talk to you. I mean, this has been a long time in the making.
Yeah, it has been. It's a decade in the making.
Yeah.
A decade since I last saw you, but actually in person.
Right.
But we're actually here now live. Oh, I see you every week almost.
Yeah.
Just about every week.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have been telling me, like, when they see me in person, they're like, oh my God, we've been on video for so long. This is so crazy.
You know what it is? There's perspective and dimensions. Like, it's the weirdest thing. It's like right now, it's like I'm staring at a screen and I'm like...
Because it's like this top half.
Yeah, like she stands.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Megan,
Megan.
my colleague, Megan, well, she's at home, but she's in Dallas, and I've been working with her virtually for the last 4 years, and I never met her until July of this year. We never met face to face, and we met and we went on a marketing retreat for the team, and there was a picture of her and I, and we took a picture, and her son's like, oh, she has legs. It's like all he's ever seen.
Are you taller than her? Or you guys the same? Like, what is that?
Yeah, I'm taller than her.
Okay,
I'm pretty tall, so I'm taller than most people I know, women I know. Yeah, I'm about 5'8". Yeah, so.
Okay, I had to do that. I did. Okay, yeah. That's that tall.
For a girl.
I lived in Holland. The girls were like 6'1".
They're huge.
I was there for 11 years, and I was like 6'1" was like normal. No, they're super tall.
That's true. They're very tall. Yeah,
tall.
She's like 5'4" or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, I get you. Okay, that's good. Now, okay, I get it now. Okay, so there. Okay, so listen, we're here. We're going to talk about all types of things, but I want to first talk about your journey. How the hell did you get PR marketing? How did this happen?
I am one of those unique people that went to school for PR.
Really?
Yeah. So I actually went to school for journalism, and then PR was like a subset of the journalism department. Yeah. And then I minored in marketing. So I literally do exactly what I went to school for.
Where did you go to school?
I went to Cal State Long Beach.
What's up, Long Beach?
Yeah, what's up, Long Beach? Go Beach. So yeah, I mean, I went to school for it. I interned while I was in school. My department required internships. Okay. And so I had thousands of internships. I was an overachiever on the internship side.
You've always been an overachiever.
Yes.
Straight up.
Yeah.
I love that.
Too much working all the time.
Awesome.
And when I graduated, I went into a mobile wireless PR agency. And so it was during the height of mobile and wireless phones, and that was
known as cell phones.
Cell phones, yes. So that was the first kind of foray into PR. But it was really intense. We did a lot of trade shows. I was at the forefront of the tech space where startups were really starting to kind of pick up.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of startups in the mobile space.
Yeah,
we worked with Nokia and places, guys like that.
Let's place this is 07, 08, 09?
04.
04.
Yes. Yeah. It's a long time ago.
That long.
Yeah. 03, 04 is when
I was going to say, we should say Nokia like it was a thing. I was like, oh, wow.
People don't even know what that is.
You're right. Okay, listen. It just came out with the Face Taco in 03, 04. Remember that GDC? They had did you ever see the Face Taco?
No.
Nokia? So Nokia made a gaming platform that looks like the half taco. It looked like literally a taco shell.
Oh, like a Game Boy.
Like a Game Boy, but taco. And they called it the Face Taco. And it was going to be all the rage, except for the fact that you had to program in Symbian and
some weird stuff.
Some old languages that everyone's like.
This was my pre-gaming.
Oh yeah, okay. So you were straight up tech. This was tech.
Totally tech.
I'm gonna be next $1 billion company. This is pre-Facebook.
Yeah. Pre-face. I don't know. I think it did because I remember. No, maybe not.
No.
Maybe not.
It's maybe MySpace is coming out.
It was definitely MySpace.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So okay.
Wow, that brings up a lot of memories.
I know. We're just putting it out there. So for everyone out there that's in the audience, being I was born in 2000. When you were 3.
Yeah.
We were rocking.
There.
Yeah, we were there. We were rocking the tech scene, So I feel old.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
no,
I'm
I think it only makes you feel old when you hear other people I've heard some of the people that work with me, they're like, oh yeah, I'll tell them a story about, I don't know, maybe it was Facebook or MySpace, and they'll be like, I don't know what MySpace is. Yeah. So they don't, things like that, little things like that kind of bring up the fact that we're a lot older than a lot of these people.
Have you ever noticed on Apple Music or Spotify, it's there's a 2000s playlist?
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah.
So I put it on, right?
So yeah.
So it's I put it on the other day, and I'm like, oh wow, what happened to Nelly?
Yeah.
Nelly.
No, but Nelly just came out with a song.
Wait,
with Florida Georgia Line.
Shit, I gotta stop listening to Apple Music.
Yeah.
I'm stuck in my I'm like, what do you mean? It's like
no, but he was gone. He was gone. No, I'm just
okay, yeah,
it just
right.
happens
so,
like that.
Okay, it's like yesterday it came out. Now
yeah,
it
was like a couple months ago. But yeah. Yeah. And I only know that because my kids.
Okay, yeah, my kids aren't there yet. My kids 6.
No, they're not, but they make me play freaking Kids Bop.
What is Kids Bop?
Oh my god.
I'm a horrible parent.
Join the metaverse, Alex.
What the hell is Kids Bop? What are you talking about?
Kids Bop, they have like kids singing popular music.
Like children.
Kids that are like 7, 8, 9, 10.
They can sing. Right?
They can sing, but they're singing songs that you would hear on the radio. But some of it's like kind of weird because like you hear like a 7-year-old singing Ariana Grande songs, which is weird because you know they don't know about love.
Oh, okay.
So it's like they're talking about love and they don't know about love. So it's.
I mean, some 40-year-olds.
Yeah, that's true. That's
I work in video games, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, we can have an entire episode on that one. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were
you're a PR.
I was in tech PR.
Yeah. So what was going on?
I did all the grunt work of things that people don't do anymore, apparently. But like all the hard stuff, you learn all the hard way getting in there. And we really focused a lot on like media relations, and that's where I picked up all those skills. And then I was like, this is kind of like Orange County, not really techie enough for me. So I moved to San Francisco and was there for 3 years and worked for various PR agencies, large PR agencies there, enterprise tech mostly. Yeah. That's when I started working in video games. And the first video game platform I worked on was Second Life.
Okay, so hey, that's very relevant.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, take us into Second Life.
And EVE Online. So they're both very relevant.
Huge relevant.
Yeah,
you're
both
like,
relevant.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so take us through that. Like, so what are you thinking when you're in this idea of Second Life?
Well, it was weird. It was just weird, especially at that time. This is 2007 now, okay? Oh, yeah. And so 2007, we're in Second Life. A lot of countries, businesses, brands were trying to establish themselves. So like Electric Sheep was like really trying to like onboard these like big entities and bring the metaverse to life at that time.
I mean, and that literally was the first metaverse.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I remember one of our projects was bringing in Switzerland. So we brought Switzerland, the country of Switzerland, into the game. And I think it was like their visitors or tourist bureau. I mean, I might have some of these facts wrong, but their visitors and tourist bureau was like part of that. That's cool. So we brought this thing and we launched Switzerland in Second Life. That was like one of the cool things that we did. And I remember there's little brands like that were slowly emerging and popping up, but it was like, so like, I was like, okay, so what's happening in here? And like, people are getting married and like, what? And then every once in a while, you see like a hot dog running around and like, I didn't know what was, it was just madness. And you see a lot of other strange things happening in there, but
you saw the really nice version of Second Life.
Yeah, no, there's more. I'm just not saying it.
It's very good. Don't worry, this is a mature rated show.
Okay.
I'll just leave you out.
I mean,
that wasn't a hot dog. That was not a hot dog. We all know that wasn't. Anyone watching this and hearing, they knew that wasn't hot, but it was a hot dog.
It was a hot dog. Yes,
Kielbasa.
yeah. So there was like, there's all kinds of crazy stuff. People dressed in crazy clothes and that was the other thing is like you could dress yourself, you can design clothing in there. It was pretty cool, but it was like I think it was just before its time.
Absolutely. Well, what do you think? They had Linden Dollar. They had
So
what did you think about the currency when you saw that? Were you just like,
point. I don't even know if I thought of it.
I
thought it was a game.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
I thought it was a game, the game of life, basically.
Yeah, that's true.
Right,
Yeah,
and
totally
at that point, I think there was like SimCity too, and like stuff like that. So it was kind of like a game like that. But when I realized people were like living their life in there, I was like, what is happening? Like, what is this?
How did you guys convince? A country, like very serious country, very conservative country,
right?
Switzerland,
right?
And of course, the brands to come into what basically is 2007 graphics. 2000. Well, looks nothing like Fortnite.
Yeah.
It looks nothing.
No.
It's not even. It's probably not even Roblox. Actually, in fact, it's not.
No, it's not.
Why do you think people at that point were already fascinated to do that? At least from what you could see.
Yeah. Obviously, our job was to promote it, not necessarily bring them on. But I think the way they got on was because they were so excited about the innovation, right? Like what are the possibilities? And a lot of this was like part of their marketing budget.
Okay.
So it was like, I'm marketing the country of Switzerland. I'm getting out there so people will come to visit us, right? So it was another way for them to be in many places at one time.
Yeah, totally.
And give people a sense of the experience without having to buy a plane ticket.
Well, so as a PR person, were you like, I don't know about this. That hot dog just came running by. It's like, how is this going to be?
I mean, there was a big problem in the game, which was that there was a lot of inappropriate stuff happening. I mean, it's mature, basically.
Well, I mean, it's 2007.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
it was a mature thing. So like, yeah, you can't in a civilized society, you can't have that kind of stuff happening. But like, anytime we had an event, some guy came in there doing something weird. You know? So
then, okay, so I know we're going to go deeper into the metaverse here, but I just got to ask this question. Like, the fears from 07, do you think they still remain true today?
Oh, yeah.
Has it gotten any better? Or is it still like, you know what, that's just how it is. That's the internet.
Well, I think it's maybe a little bit better because people now have social media. They didn't have it. I mean, it was just the beginning of social media.
That's a very good point.
Right? And so people have learned how to navigate online conversations a little bit differently. People have been in hot water. People have been canceled. Like, all those things have happened.
Actually, you're totally right.
Right?
That stuff ever happened back then.
Right. So now people have experience with the internet. They know what they maybe should or shouldn't say.
Yeah.
And they know they might be canceled. So like, if a celebrity's in there, they're not gonna be misbehaving, but you're still gonna get bad actors. Somebody's gonna do something stupid.
Okay, so like, because this is I want to go in your timeline. So here we are in 07. You're launching a virtual world that effectively is the forerunner to the metaverse, and you're also working in a video game that becomes a forerunner for economy because Eve became massive. Let's talk about that.
That was my big win. That was my big win. My lifetime achievement. Not so much so, but like we were in the New York Times, and that was the focus of that article was the economics of video games. And it was so cool because they had an in-house economist. We called him like the Greenspan of Eve Online. And so that person had talked to Seth Shizel at the time at New York Times, and they had like this just full-blown article on the economics of this and like how it was just like modeled, and the government was modeled after the real world. And so it was kind of like the first time that you see like people can play out real world skills in a video game. It's not just game. It's practicing your skills, honing your skills. And I think we even had that conversation about developing your professional skill.
Absolutely.
And we talked about the different teams and like how there's like a boss and how there's like people who have different roles within a team. And it was just a different conversation. And that was the first time. The one thing that I loved about it is, one, it was in the New York Times, it was in color, and then those
that's
are
a big deal.
My wins.
I mean, that's a big deal.
It was in the Sunday paper,
there you go.
the Sunday art section, and then we talked about video games in a way people had not talked about it before.
Okay, so when you're doing this, and of course, do you see Second Life in this? All of a sudden, do you get this kind of like electric spark of like something's happening, or
I don't think so. That was my first.
It's just kind of like, hey, it's cool.
It was my first gaming, like professional video game experience where I'm like doing the stuff for it. But I did kind of, in my mind, I thought, okay, this is something else. It's not what I thought it was.
So it's still a game, in that, or it's not.
It's still a game, but there's more to it.
Okay.
That's kind of what I thought.
Okay, gotcha.
And then of course you've got like, I mean, there's so many other games, right? Then you've got like first person shooters and NBA and 2K and all this other stuff. So like it's still in the video game industry, and I saw what they were trying to push as far as the message, but I didn't see 10 years down the line.
Okay, no, that makes sense. And, I mean, the fact that you're in the New York Times is already as a video game.
Yeah, that was a big achievement.
Professional, that's a big deal.
That was a big achievement.
I hope you got printed to that.
Oh yeah, I have a frame.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, that's cool. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're doing this, and then you keep in your journey in PR and marketing, and between that moment and beautiful 2020.
Yeah. Well, that actually got me into video games. So I actually went in-house at that time. So. After that's when I went to Gamers First.
Okay,
so
perfect.
K2, whatever people want to call it. So I went from there. Well, I came back down to LA, and then I went to K2. And then I was there for a couple of years and saw the madness that is the video game industry, and I got out.
I mean, it wasn't appealing to say.
It was.
What are you trying to say?
It was interesting, but as a female, as a person of color, I think there's just all these different elements that I did not expect. And then I worked for a developer publisher, and that was kind of messy. And it was really fun, but there was too many people having too much fun. It was just like, I don't know, it was like very clear lines between business and the fun part of gaming.
Yeah.
And like, there weren't a lot of people that were good at the crossover part, which maybe is part of like that whole initial metaverse thing. Maybe there weren't a lot of people that were good at bridging that gap.
We did an entire episode yesterday on allyship in the video games industry and diversity, equity, and inclusion in women.
Yeah.
And it's, it's sad. And this sounds going to sound like terrible, but it's like, it's the same conversation that's been happening for 20 years.
Yeah.
And it's since I started, and I'm like, wow. And when I'm hearing your story, it's like the fact that you encountered things that otherwise, it puts anyone off.
Yeah.
You experienced it, and we're still talking.
Yeah.
And I know that's not the point of today.
I mean, even tech is like that too.
Well, and so
anything tech.
Well, this is the problem.
Yeah.
Right? Anything that is dominated by a certain group of people.
Yeah.
That's basically what this is.
Yeah.
And it's this thing. It's like, and for whatever reason, when you have hard skills and a lack of soft skills, it turns out the hard skills just are dumbasses.
Yeah. Yes.
Listen, and that's my mouth saying it. I'll be straight up. This is the thing when it comes down to, yeah.
You can verbalize for me.
I'll absolutely verbalize for you.
I'll be the PR person and you verbalize.
It's bullshit is what it is.
Yeah.
The thing is, in the end of the day, the problem that we run into with the games industry is that we don't grow up. The scandals just get worse. And then we're like, what do you mean we can't behave this way? It's like, well, you wouldn't do that in front of your mom.
Yeah.
Or would you do it to your mom?
Yeah.
Probably not either. So you probably don't want to do it to Sally.
Yeah.
It's like
there's just such a fine line, and well, and I don't know. I think part of the industry doesn't want to grow up.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Right?
It wants to be rebellious. It wants to be like, oh, no one understands. It's like,
listen,
we do understand. That's probably why you're going to jail.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, that's probably why you were fired.
Yeah. They want to stay in this like dark corner.
There's no corner anymore.
I think everything is exposed. At this point, I think everyone's like, look, how are we going to make this work? How are we going to make this business work?
Well, so then you think about that, because that's leading us towards this metaverse concept, right? In 0708, you could be a total perv on any of these systems, or a weird.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You could be the hot dog running around, and no one would know. But now in the metaverse, or now in anything social, we know who you are.
Yeah.
It's like, it's pretty clear who you are.
Well, and that was like one big campaign we did. We did a no ID campaign where it was
not the rapper though.
No, it was like remain anonymous, because that was such a big important thing for a lot of players, is to stay anonymous. That's what it was. It was Blizzard. It was a response to Blizzard. And Blizzard had done this thing where they somebody hacked the IDs or something like that. It was a while ago. I'm sure it's happened more than once. And then we did a rapid response PR campaign saying, hey, play gamers first, we keep you anonymous. And it was like, play anonymous was our hashtag at that time. And we just piggybacked off of that. And I mean, that's a big deal for a lot of players, because they're, socially maybe awkward, or they think they've created this persona online. I mean, I've seen so many crazy characters get built, and they're I don't know if you've seen, this is going to be a weird comparison, Spy Games. Have you seen, or Spy Kids? The movie Spy Kids.
Rodriguez.
Yeah. So Spy Kids 4, which is, I don't know how they even got that far, but Spy Kids.
Kids love movies, and parents love their kids to be entertained.
Right, yeah.
Thank you, Disney.
But Spy Kids 4 did a perfect example of this, where inside the game, these players were something else, and then once they got outside of the game, they met in real life, and they were completely opposite.
Yeah.
And that is true sometimes.
I mean, it is true. I mean, listen. In the end of the day, it's everyone's kind of a keyboard warrior. Yeah. Everyone's badass.
Hiding behind the keyboard.
It's easy to hide behind the hands.
I'm sure the pandemic did not help.
Oh no, it did not. Well, and this is the thing. It's everyone is so glorious, and they're so the most educated people. It's like this idea on Facebook where it's today I'm a virologist, tomorrow an expert in Afghanistan.
Right.
I love these memes and I laugh because it's true. It's like, you know what? I drink coffee and I practically planted coffee. It's
Yes.
like, oh, you know, it's like, it isn't going to work that way. But the point on this being is that, like, you know, anonymity creates this false sense of superiority.
Yeah.
And the moment that that gets pulled away and you truly are the jackass you are in front of everyone, well, then you got to own it.
Yeah.
And if you can't, well, then you shy away. And if you can, you probably become a politician.
And imagine people like Facebook and as the metaverse gets created, like privacy, security, like being who you are is going to become a little bit more important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But then are you like not in the metaverse anymore? Because
I don't think the metaverse means hiding who you are.
not hiding, but like having a different persona.
So here's the thing on this. Okay, because this is going to go into exactly the marketing PR aspect of it.
Yeah.
Who are you? What are you?
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, in the end of the day, for us, and quickly, we always look at it that the metaverse is your unified persona between your digital and physical self. That's basically what it is.
Right.
So it's not that you cease to be you. You are you. Maybe a version that you wish to be, or however you interpret yourself. But the reality is, you're still you. Right?
Yeah.
There's no tool that stops
Changes
you from.
who you
No,
are.
I mean, this isn't like I wish. It's like, well, there's no wishing because we do know who you are.
Yeah.
You know, and I think this is a thing that people got to get used to. Perhaps it gives you the ability to do extensions, like maybe you can walk because you can't walk. I don't know, more stuff like that. You know,
Right.
Maybe attributes, but
that's also in Spy Kids, by the way.
yeah. Okay. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Robert Rodriguez headed down.
Yeah.
Latino, by the way, Mexican.
Yeah. It was who was the guy Montalban? What's his
Ricardo
name?
Montalban.
He's in that
God,
movie.
from Fantasy Island.
Yeah, he's in the wheelchair, but in the game he's standing up.
There you go. Let's see.
Yeah.
I mean, they predicted it like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
That's probably about 6 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so wait a second. All right, so I don't want to open up this metaverse thing yet, but so you're in games, you're working at K2.
Oh, sorry, yes.
You're doing you guys are like, you know, you're dunking on Blizzard.
Yeah, we're dunking on Blizzard, and then, you know, whatever, I was like, okay, I think it's time for me to move on. I went to Fleischman Hillard, which is a huge PR agency, and I was kind of working there a little bit, and we were passing on a lot of startup companies, and that was like another time there's a lot of startups coming up, and I was like, maybe I could do that. So I just left. And I'm sure they did not appreciate it. I didn't mean to do it, but I wasn't doing anything at my job.
I didn't mean to quit my job.
I didn't mean to quit my job. It just kind of happened. Like, I wasn't doing it. It was being challenged. And I remember talking to my brother, and he's like, well, just collect the paycheck. And I was like, but that's not fun for me. Like, I didn't really enjoy that. So I left, and I started working with a bunch of startups. And that's kind of the birth of the Silver Telegram and how we started. And I had so many like contacts in video games. Yeah. So we had worked with a couple of video game companies. CJ Games was one of them from Korea. We worked with them. We worked with, I can't even remember now all the different companies we work with. But so I started kind of developing the agency from there. And our focus had always been like media relations, because that was like my specialty, was getting into the media. I mean, I got to the New York Times. Come on. So we work with a lot of startups on funding announcements, you know, Wall Street Journal, VentureBeat, GamesBeat, like all those guys. And so we really established ourselves in getting media attention. And I mean, that was kind of the birth of that.
Was that scary? I want to, because like, you know, we talk about business, like, okay, you go from like basically being a part of businesses, big, small, whatever you want to say, different industries. Yeah. When you decide, I'm going to do it myself.
Well, I think I felt like confident enough at that time, or I had enough experience that if it didn't work, I would get a job. I had never not gotten a job. So I was not worried about having a job.
Okay, so you knew you weren't going to start.
Yeah.
Okay, but still.
The scariest part was telling my parents.
That's always a good thing. Take me through that conversation. How do you explain to your parents this?
Like, I didn't tell them for like almost a year. No, I didn't tell them for almost a year.
What did they think you were doing?
They knew I was working. I was working.
Okay, so you're just like, I'm working.
I'm working.
I'm the boss.
They just didn't know what I was doing. And then I was like, I think it was like around the holidays at one point. I remember having this conversation, and my dad was like, so like, how's work going? And it was like a very generic question. I was like, actually, I've been working for myself. And they were like confused. And then when I explained it to them, and he's like, well, I guess you've been doing it for a year. So then I already had a like validation.
No, yeah, you're like, you clearly haven't borrowed money from me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait a second. So you knew, you had the skills, you had the Rolodex, you had the courage.
Yeah.
You were in the New York Times.
Yeah.
Just so everyone out there understands, this is like baller achievement. This is like, level 100.
Yeah, we've been there now many times.
Yeah,
but,
but you're at that level.
Yeah,
right?
at the level.
And so you're like, okay, I'm going to run my business and I'm going to make this happen.
Yeah.
Were you broad on everything, or was it going to be startups, tech, games, whatever? What was it?
No, tech was going to be my specialty. Okay. So tech companies, startups.
Yeah, totally.
And I felt like video games fell into that. Yeah, totally. The reason I love technology so much, especially today, which was not the case 10 years ago when we started, is that what unfolded over the next 10 years was that tech is in everything.
Yeah, everything's tech.
Right?
Everything.
So first it was mobile phones. Yeah. Then it was talking about deep tech and computers and data, big data, all that kind of stuff. Then it was software as a service. Yeah. And then it's like video games is tech. And then now there's the Apple Watch. Yeah. And then mobile phones are really tech, always. Yeah, They've always been tech. But like there's apps, and now there's Facebook. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all these things are tech based. So that tech boom like made me pretty confident that I wasn't gonna look for clients. I mean, there's so many people out there, and I mean, it is challenging because it's a very competitive market, especially for PR. But I think I felt good that the fact, like, my goodness, like the world is technology at this point.
So your software's in the world, everything's happening, and it's rocking for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's hard to run a business, though. Let me be clear.
What do you mean?
No, I went into it not knowing I didn't know anything. I knew how to do my skill set.
Oh, that's good.
Right?
Yeah, that's true.
So I thrived on the skill set, and then I was like, oh shit, I have to do all this other stuff.
I know, right? It's all this administration shit that nobody wants to do.
Yeah.
Right? It's like,
oh my god, I have to get a bookkeeper? Yeah. What is that? Like,
billing.
Wait, do I need a business plan or not? Like, I don't know if I need a business plan. I basically literally took all the training I had and just replicated it.
Yeah, exactly.
I just copied everything I've been doing, and so it works.
When did you realize that you had to start paying taxes?
Like 5 years later. I mean, I paid taxes. I filed my taxes every year, but like, I didn't realize like there was more of a process.
Yeah, exactly. So this is brilliant because again, it's like, and I think this is just the reason why I just want to touch on that real quick is that like being the engineer, being the PR specialist, being the marketing specialist, so different than being the person who runs the business.
Oh my god, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's this book called The E-Myth. Did you ever read this book?
No.
Okay, so the E-Myth is basically what they call when a person who's highly skilled at what they do says, I should have my own business. Like the mechanic's like, I'm amazing at fixing cars. Let me go run my own auto body shop.
Right.
Never realizing that basically fixing a car and running a business are so different.
Yeah.
But then they have to be great at both. And they have what's called the entrepreneurial seizure, where they are shit at both and break apart. That's why the business fails.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right? It's a nuts.
I'm sufficient. I'm sufficient at one and good at the other thing.
Well, I mean, this is like you're a overachiever.
Yeah,
so
that's
you're always gonna win.
Yeah.
Like no matter. I mean, you're in the New York Times. I'm just gonna keep putting that in there, right? So we knew you were gonna get there, right?
I love it.
So wait a second. So now we're in this business. It's rocking and rolling. Things are happening.
Yeah.
I really want to know about the pandemic. So what happened?
Yeah. So actually, my business went digital in 2018. I was virtual in 2018. I did have like that business breakdown moment. I was like, I do not like staying in one place. Yeah. I started having kids. I was like feeling like stuck. And then I was like, I've got to change something. And so at that point, we had started working with freelancers, and I started doing this thing that was a little bit different. I was trying to create this cool thing where like I just worked with a bunch of freelancers from all over and just stacked up the accounts with freelancers and I thought like, okay, this is going to work. It was harder than I thought to build, but whatever. We just had our business and it kind of kept going. And we had some full-time, some freelancers. And then I was like, I can do PR from anywhere. Like nobody is here. My person's in Dallas, my person's in New York, my person's in San Francisco. Like, why do I have an office anymore? So I got rid of the office. I joined WeWork, and I was the first resident at the Long Beach WeWork. That's my claim to fame.
Did you meet Adam?
No, who's Adam?
The founder?
No. I met the guy who managed the WeWork there. That's about it.
It's like some 16-year-old
kid.
He's like, welcome to WeWork.
He was cool.
That's cool.
And then I got, we were there, and then I was like, we've got to do something different. We sold all of our stuff and we left the country for 4 months. So we went to Spain for a month and a half. I love Barcelona.
That's great.
My favorite place.
Las Ramblas y todo. That's
Yeah.
so nice. So nice.
I had, and then we had 2 kids in tow. One couldn't walk, so that was interesting. And so we left. Yeah, we went to Spain for 1.5 months. We went to Amsterdam for 1.5 months, and then we went to Berlin. And
Good
then
choices.
And then I was like, you know, if I knew it was going to be the way it was, I would have just kept going for a little bit longer. But I didn't know what to expect. And we had a family, so it's like you have to. And we just Airbnb'd it. It was awesome, and we worked it. We went to cities that had a WeWork that intentionally did that, so that I would be able to virtually work from anywhere I went.
I mean, look, you started to live the digital nomad life.
Right.
You had +2.
Yeah.
You had the kids.
Yeah.
Which is cool because, you were able to do it. They were young. So.
It was, they loved it. They loved it. And now they try things. It's great. It's great for them.
Okay. So then you're already digital. You're already a nomad. You're already forget being in one fixed location.
Yeah. So that's that was the virtual reality of our business at that time. And so when the pandemic hit, that's nothing. That's nothing for us. However, our clientele definitely impacted the clients. You know, PR traditionally has always been the first thing to go. So it was the first thing to go, but it was also the first thing to come back.
What do you know?
Yeah. So they're like, oh, we're going to cut everything, right? Cut everything, cut our staff. Everybody suffered very, very, very difficult at the beginning. And then July rolls around and people are like, oh shit, the year is going to end and we need sales, or we need to create these deals. Yeah. How are we going to get seen?
Yeah.
PR. So everybody came back and more people came. And so it became very, very crowded. Not to mention, right in March is when George Floyd happened, right?
Exactly.
And then as George Floyd unfolded the whole Black Lives Movement, then the media suffered greatly. Yeah. Because there was a humongous layoff on many big media. I'm just not going to say any of them, but there's a lot of media changes because of Black Lives Matter, because of people started talking about LGBTQ issues. All these social issues started coming up, and then people were panicking because of the pandemic. All this stuff happened. It just exploded, and the media started shifting, and all these people started leaving. So anybody we contacted at the media, well, we can't do this right now. We don't have enough staff. We heard this so many times, over and over again. We're pitching stories. We don't have enough staff. This is interesting. We can do this in a month. We can do this in 6 weeks. And we're like, holy shit. It's taking forever. What do we do to get these people out there without relying on a media force that is very, very unsustainable right now?
It's totally dwindling. It's shrinking down.
Oh my God, it was terrible. And then slowly but surely people would find the place that they liked, and then they would go back to and it stabilized a little bit, but there's still that big impact from last year on the media industry. People don't trust the media. And it makes me think, well, if people don't trust the media, what are we as PR people going to do?
Well, you're telling the story of the company. And the thing is, of this, I look at it from this perspective. People don't trust the media because certain people want to say that you can't trust the media.
Yeah.
They built a brand on
that.
Everyone's a liar except them.
Everyone's a liar.
Look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Type of thing, but that's a different story.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, what it comes down to, though, I think, is that in the end, when it comes to companies have to tell their story. The beautiful thing about companies is that you can verify their story because they have people working there.
Yeah.
And with social media and all the content, you can look and see. And if you want to know, give them a call.
Well, content has become the king, right? We are really focused on content creation. Media doesn't have staff. We'll just create the story for you and we'll place it there.
It's so funny.
So it's and it's funny. My parents do not get what I do. Yeah. They don't know what we do. My brother owns a business, and we got him into the OC register, and they did a whole profile on him. And my dad's like, "Oh, that's a nice advertisement." I'm like, "It's not an advertisement."
Have you seen the level of your clients' capability improving in terms of presenting because now everyone does Zoom? Are you?
Oh, that's a good question.
I'm curious, are people becoming more they understand present?
No, I think it's
worse.
I think it's gotten worse. I think people have gotten too casual. I had a Zoom call with someone who was in a robe a bathrobe.
Like a Hugh Hefner or just like?
It was a fuzzy terry cloth bathrobe. It was so odd to me. This was a potential client. Obviously, I did not work with that person, but why would you wear a bathrobe? It makes no sense to me. I think
turn off the camera if you're going to not even be wearing clothes.
I think they've gotten comfortable with Zoom, is what I think. So they've gotten comfortable to a point where, I'm pretty comfortable. I mean, in client calls, sometimes I am like in my gym clothes because I'm going to go work out at some point or whatever. Yeah. But if I know it's like a interview, if it's an analyst briefing, if it's something a little bit more serious or buttoned up, I get dressed up still.
Well, yeah.
And I think people had to figure out how to navigate being at home but being buttoned up. Like there's still a professionalism that you have to have.
Yeah, you have to.
And I always tell everybody, like I tell all my team, I always tell them like, hey, like I expect that you're going to be ready to be on a camera.
Yeah, totally.
Like I expect your camera to be on.
Yeah, same.
Unless something crazy is happening at your house, and then you could turn it off, and then I expect you to have a picture. A nice picture. So it's like there is an expectation for me. Like there's still a level of professionalism, and maybe it's because I'm old school and I'm just old to fart,
But you're nailing something I think is really important that I think everyone should understand. It's like the level of expectation of professionalism, especially now that we're coming back to a post-pandemic world or living with the pandemic world. Yeah. Or you're traveling again, like
you're gonna see people again at some point.
No, you are. You really are. And like there are just certain things you're not gonna do. Like, hey, let's go up to my room. It's like, no. Yeah. Like we're gonna hang out like in the lobby. There are these things, right? So I think that now that we are now bringing in a generation of kids who graduated from high school, in their house.
Oh my God, that's crazy. That's
never worked with anyone, let alone being. They don't have the manners. They don't have the etiquette. They don't have the decorum. So, as a PR professional and as a marketing professional, like I'm sure you're seeing this starting to come in, right?
It's bad. It's not good.
So, okay.
I just don't hire a lot of junior people, but yes.
Well, but I'm not saying for you.
Yeah, for everybody else. Everybody else, yes.
They're like, hey, this is Billy who basically lived inside of the metaverse.
Yeah.
I mean, he was born in it.
He was born in the metaverse.
He was made in Second Life.
Yeah.
He's like a Second Life child, and now he's,
Remember that hot dog?
I know. Oh. Okay, let me hurl you. Let me not fall for the bait and jump into it like this. I am so close to that one. It's like, how did you know? So brands then. And the metaverse, like we know that Second Life had its problems, but then we also know that people got super lax, like you're saying, people got too comfortable.
I think they got too comfortable.
Okay, so what is this going to mean for brands that are saying like, well, you know what, we're going to bring in all these kids, we're going to bring everyone, you're going to come hang out with us in the metaverse, and
I think there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve over the next 5 years, maybe. I don't know. What do you think? 10 years? 5 to 10 years?
I mean, you know what? We're human beings. It's probably forever.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, and there was when technology first started.
Oh, totally.
There was a little bit of a learning curve. My parents don't know how to use a phone still, but they're old. But there's always that little decade, I guess, a gap of I would say more like 5 to 8 years. Yeah. And so I think there's going to be a gap and a learning curve. And I look at my kids. They are 3 through 7, and they're on the iPad and they're playing games and they're coding. My daughter's coding. Like, it's really insane. So them growing up in that, like I grew up, my brother made computers when I was little. He's 8 years older than me. So I got introduced to computers very early. Yeah, absolutely. But those kids are like programming. They're STEM kids. We have a client that has a STEM Batmobile. It's really cool. I mean, these kids are learning how to do this stuff so early. So this is going to be second nature to them. What I think they're going to lack is the social skills.
So this is the soft skills, right?
Yeah.
So how do you basically advise your clients when that is going to be the issue? When they're basically looking at it and seeing, I'm really wondering, because it's like, they're like, okay, so you have a bunch of kids who never knew how to do this. So
one thing that I had to embark on during the pandemic, just for my own business, and I imagine everyone's going to have to do this, is this virtual training, right? And training people virtually. And how do you do that so that it's effective? So one thing for me was like, okay, I want to experience it. Everything's now about experiencing, because that's what work is. Experience.
So a good one or a bad one, depending on who you work for.
right, absolutely. So how are they going to experience interaction? What do they need to do? How should they respond? So I'm like trying to figure out, how do I do this all virtually? Because we're not in an office.
That's true.
I'm not training them that way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would say like for the metaverse kind of like, if there was a second life that I could use for work, where I could like create a virtual office and we're all in our little spaces and we can connect to that during a work day, that would be so amazing because you can have some of those virtual dynamics in there.
Okay, so let's look at that for a second, because like, I know, obviously Microsoft has the HoloLens.
Yeah.
Facebook is trying to do it with its Oculus.
Yeah.
Do you see that basically the world of PR and marketing will turn into this kind of multi-layered, multi-sensory experience where it's like you do exactly what you're saying, you're plugged in, you're presenting.
Yeah. I mean, we're on Slack all day.
Right.
We're slacking all the time. We're hanging out. We're doing all this
really,
Zooming.
right.
We're doing all these things.
Seriously.
I mean, I can't imagine. Oh my God, I went to this. Sorry, I'm like diverting now, but like I went to this awesome conference. Which conference was it? I want to say, I don't remember which conference it was, but the platform was insane. It was kind of like, you know, you have your avatar, you create your avatar. So I tried to make it as close as looking to me as I could, but they didn't have like an Indian avatar, so that kind of pissed me off. And then like the hair wasn't curly, so like there's a lot of things. Okay, so
that's when you realize that some people haven't left the world.
Yeah, they weren't in the gaming space because obviously they would have these options. I was like, my eyes are brown, but they're not that kind of brown. It's just, you know. So I got to pick my outfit and dress myself up and did that, and like, but the interaction between that was so cool. You would go, you would talk to someone, you could type something in and chat with them, just like Second Life. I mean, it really reminded me of that. And then you could warp into other locations of the conference.
Oh, that's cool.
So they would have an announcement like, oh, the speaker's speaking, and then you could like warp into that section.
Yeah.
And then now I'm in a room with a bunch of people and we're like watching the speaker. You can clap for the speaker. You can start dancing. And they had one of the things was like a dance party at a booth.
Yeah.
So later I joined that dance party and whoever won the dance party got a prize. It was really cool. And I was like, this is so cool. Like every conference should be like this.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, the thing is like this, like we went to these virtual conferences and we looked at them. And it's like the creativity that's needing to be unlocked to make it interesting. Just imagine being you're an events person.
Yeah.
Visiting pure events. Like you're like, how do I bring in a physical event, a digital layer for the people who are too scared to come in, the people that's, you know, they're like, I don't care, I'm going to come out.
Yeah.
How do you bring these worlds together?
I love that option.
Yeah, totally.
And people are going to use that forever, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, so this is the thing. So like, let's look at this for a second here. If you're a brand who's like, okay, I need to figure this metaverse thing out. I need to figure out communications. Where should we go? What should we do? Is there a place to go, or is it just like trial and error?
Well, you tell us, Streamline.
I don't know about that, girl. I don't know. I mean, yeah, you know, I'm like, probably not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the first thing to do is kind of figure out how you want to show up, right?
Yeah.
As a brand, your whole thing is like your persona, your presence, like what message are you trying to get across? Yeah. So how do you want to show up in the world, and where do you need to show up? To find your customers, your whatever audience there is. And I think like right now, LinkedIn is such a great place for professionals. Yeah. Like but the thing it's lacking is it's not virtual. It's just like
Can you
Facebook.
Imagine if that was an immersive experience.
That would be so
like
sick.
If you went in there, you're like your LinkedIn avatar, except they actually have someone who's representative of you. And
right.
You go in there and you're like, hey, it's like, it would be kind of cool.
It would be, and I feel like LinkedIn like already has like kind of the infrastructure. They've got groups. They've got all these different things. So like, I definitely think like there's going to be a place for everyone. It's going to be similar to what it is now. Yeah. So there'll be like a LinkedIn metaverse where like, hey, I'm going to go here for my networking experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to go here for like a more of a social experience. You know, I'm going to go here. I'm an influencer. I'm going to go here and like kind of talk to my public or whatever. So I feel like the metaverse is going to have like these cities, right? Like just like the world. I mean, you kind of build that around, but like as a brand, you have to kind of determine what place that's going to be for you. And you still have to do the same things in traditional marketing. It just got to be elevated. Like,
okay. So what's next for Silver Telegram? Where do you guys go? Where do you want to take it?
I mean, that's a really good question. I think, obviously in the pandemic, we did a lot more content creation, thought leadership. I mean, I've got these podcasts all over the place, and it's like, it's really important to have a dynamic creative, like lots of different creative assets. And I think content PR is public relations is essentially you speaking to the public. Like it doesn't have to be a press release. It doesn't have to be, and we're talking to our clients now and we're doing like video releases, we're doing different things, and multimedia releases have existed for like at least, 15 years. So it's not a new thing.
Yeah.
But I think people are going to use more different types of content. And so the PR practice is going to be more encompassed around how to build thought leadership, how to educate people. I think education is going to be big. And how creative can you get with your content? I also think that there's going to be a slight return to physical things like experiential marketing and, of course, like going back to conferences. But now you have so many options. You can do whatever you want.
Okay, so people want to follow you. They want to get in contact with you. How can they do that?
So the Silver Telegram is easy. silvertelegram.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, Ronjini Joshua. I'm probably the only one, I think. I'm easy to find. If you Google me, I'm there. But yeah, the silvertelegram.com is the best way. And then LinkedIn for like personally, and everything is open. So like I'm sure you can even Google my phone number. I'd maybe not do that, but
No one, please do that. I mean, like,
what's Ronjini's phone?
Yeah, I mean, like,
well, I'm on my phone's on press releases.
Yeah, I know. Don't worry. No one, please do that. Like, I beg you. Emails and LinkedIn.
Emails are awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Emails is the best way to reach me. I don't answer my phone because there's so much spam.
That's true. That's very true.
I mean, that's craziness.
Well, listen, I really thank you for coming in here and being a part of our show.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, this is great. We're gonna have you come back.
Yeah, I could talk about this.
Oh, I know. We're gonna do another one. I want to invite you for a couple of our other ones too.
Yeah, maybe like a more panelized thing.
Oh yeah, no, it'll be there. You know what? It's like you're in PR.
Yeah.
You're good at talking.
Yeah.
What do you know? It's like it's not just clever.
Well, and it's really interesting because like now that we do work with like lifestyle brands and tech brands and cannabis brands, all these things are coming together.
This is so yeah.
All these things are coming together, so.
Especially video games.
Yes. Yes.
Some good ideas.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thanks.